Hello and welcome back to Crafts of Note. Today I'm going to show you a bunch of common beginner bra making mistakes and what can be done to fix them or avoid them in the future. Definitely don't throw the bra away. They're easily salvageable and a lot of the times it's a very easy fix, even if you have to do a little bit of unpicking. We'll take a close-up look with two bras that I have here. This is a Black Beauty bra and it's actually the very first bra I ever made. There are mistakes on it, so that's why I have it out. And then I also have a Boylston bra here. They're different types and different styles, so it's good to look at both. And then I have some example materials that I can show you. One of the most common things that people forget to do when they're going to make their pattern is adjust for elastic widths. I have pulled out here two Emerald Erin Black Beauty bra back band pieces to show you as an example. This is the original View A back band. And as you can see, there's what looks like seam allowance here and here, but this one is also elastic allowance. Now the Black Beauty bra, I think allows for about a 1/2 inch. And I have some red here that is 1/2 inch elastic, Pico elastic. And as you can see, that's how much can fit there. So say you bought a kit to do a bra and it's bigger than that or smaller than that, you would need to adjust your pattern before you can use it. So for instance, here is 5/8 inch, which is a little bit too wide for the Black Beauty bra. The problem with this is if you don't adjust for it, then your bra ends up having too much space taken away from the upper pieces, which becomes problematic when you get into the wire areas. Okay, so if you did this and you have a bigger elastic size but you forgot to adjust your pattern, well, there are things that you can do to make up for that. So let's talk about that now. So the first thing is, if you were going to adjust, all you would have to do is trace this on a piece of paper and add the extra amount that you need to this bottom part. And this goes for all the pieces. It's not just the back band. Now I have an extra strip here because I needed my back band to be a little bit longer. So I have a little like 1/4 inch there. So you would do that. So let's say you cut it all out and you didn't allow enough room for all that elastic. There's a few things you can do. The first thing that you can do is, if you have, this is just an example power band here. When you go to put your bottom band elastic on, let's say I have that 5/8 inch here, you could, instead of sewing it flush with the edge like you normally would, like so, you can slide it over so that there is some sticking out on the side. The amount that you want out is however much you have too much of. So if it's 5/8 an inch, but you need 1/2 inch, it's only 1/8 of an inch. It really just depends on your difference. And the reason that this works is that the band gets flipped inward. And if you allow for that, then you're only allowing the same amount of the fabric to be taken up. This helps for fit. It helps for fitting the hook and eyes on the back because they have to be the same width. And it helps for when you need to get your cups in place because you don't want them going too high up into your cups. Now say that you did that and you forgot to do it where the cup is. You can actually take scissors and trim the elastic out where the cup and the underwire channeling is going to go down. Okay, so I did that on that bra, and I actually did it on this bra as well because I used on my very first bra too wide of an elastic, and that's how I compensated. Is I trimmed it out there, and then in the band I had made my band bigger, but that worked out okay. So that's one common bra making mistake. The second one is similar to what we just talked about. If we go back to our back band pattern piece, you can see that there's a specific width once you take out the two seam allowances for the elastics for the hook and eye. Now, you need to make sure that however big of a hook and eye can fit when you are doing this. So in this case, the Emerald Erin 40B is drafted to be a 2x2 hook and eye, or a 2x3. And I will show you that I have 3x3s on these particular ones. So in order to put a 3x3 on, I had to change the pattern. So again, you would take your back band, make sure, and you'd put your 3x3 down, and you would expand the inner portion, grading out from there to make sure that you could fit your back band. And then you can adjust to whatever size you want. And I label my pieces 2x3 hook and eye. Or so say you forgot to adjust for the hook and eye. Well, what do you do to fix it, right? So let's say that your back band is too narrow for a 3x3 hook and eye, the size on the example bras. What you're gonna do is, instead of sewing your elastic, again, flush with the sides of your power band, like here, you want to veer it off at the edge when you get towards the back. So don't put it flush with the side. You're going to sew it so it hangs off in the back, because that'll make it wider when you go to flip your elastic, and no one's going to see that part when you do it at the very back end. And something you can fix for next time, but that'll allow you to fit the hook and eye if it's a 3x3 and you have it too small. The easier fix is if you accidentally cut it too big. Say you had it adjusted for a 3x3, then all you would have to do is take your power net and even your elastics, and you just cut it down to size. Before you do all the elastic, you want to do that so that you can trim it down at the back. You don't even have to trim the whole thing. You can just trim the very end to fit it in. So let's look at these two bras and how they fit in. So this is the Boylston bra. Now you can see, this is the first one I ever made. There's a little ripple right there, and that's because mine wasn't quite exact. And it doesn't matter. You just ease it in, distribute, and sew it down, and it doesn't really affect fit. Here is my example Black Beauty bra with 3x3 hook and eye. Again, fits in there nicely. I adjusted the pattern for this one. There's even a little space. They were even a little bit small, but again, doesn't really matter. Just do it. The next one is for if you're missing a material that you might need. Now, we have the Black Beauty bra out here, and as you can see, the top cup is actually finished with fold-over elastic. And what happens if you don't have enough fold-over elastic or even the right color? What could you use instead, especially during a pandemic when it's difficult to find materials? Well, there's a few options. You can line the back of the cup instead and do a stitch and flip method and close it in the seam. You kind of want to do that with stable materials because this one is bra tulle and the elastic gives you some stretch up there. And if you're doing stitch and flip, you want to make sure that it lies flat on the top. So let's look at the Boylston bra. That's exactly what I did here. This is actually a stretch fabric. Boylston bra is designed for stable knit fabric or stable anything, non-stretch. And so I have stretch on the front, sheer cup lining on the back, and I stitched and flipped, and then you understitch the cup to keep it down. But that encloses everything nicely if you don't have fold over elastic. Other things you could potentially use, if it was stable, you could use satin bias binding, cotton bias binding, although I don't think that would be as nice. You could use a different type of elastic as long as you can keep the edges down and it won't fray. Another common bra problem in a first bra, especially if you accidentally took too much room at some point in the bra, is not having enough wire play. It doesn't really matter why that happens, as long as you know. But if, in this case, in this very first bra, I did not have enough wire play. And what wire play is that there's a little bit of extra room in the underwire channeling so that the wires have room to flex and so they don't poke you. If they don't have any room, they tend to pop through, and it tends to be very uncomfortable because it doesn't have enough room to move. And I had that issue because I was following a tutorial at the time, and the fold over elastic here, that person said to sew it down first. Emerald Erin does not say to do that in her pattern. And so it took about a 1/4 inch away from my wire play. And when I did wear the bra, it hurt a lot and the wires poked through. So I think it had to do with down here not having that right size elastic. But no matter how you get there, what can you do about it? In my hand, I have an example of a 40 wire, which is the wire that you need for both the 40B in Emerald Erin and the 40B in the Boylston bra. Now you can see that it has these little coated tips here and here. And if your bra does not have enough wire play and you cannot wear it comfortably, here's what you can do. You can trim off a portion of the wire to make it shorter at one side or the other as best suits the bra. And if you do, you want to make sure that you can coat the end so it's not sharp, so it won't saw right through your fabric. There's a couple ways to do that. I've seen people who do this heat shrink covering that you can get at Harbor Freight and on Amazon. And it's a little plastic casing that then has a heat gun that shrinks it to it and makes a seal. I've seen other people who have different types of glue that they coat it with so that it's not sharp. That's all that really matters, is that it's not sharp. So that's one solution. Another solution, if it works for you, is that this is a set of the Bra Builders Flexi Wire. They are very bendable, and it might be possible that even if you don't have a lot of room, you can put this one in and it might still be okay because they're a lot lighter and flexible, so they might not hurt or poke through, and they can be bent. They're the same size, similar shape, but you can tell that's how much I could move that one. And this one I can move, but not nearly as much, because these are Emerald Erin's orange wires. And most standard wires are like that, not as flexible. Bra Builders Flexi Wires are special. Another problem that people have when they make their first bra is they're worried about how pretty it's going to look or what mistakes are happening. Honestly, if it doesn't affect the function of the bra, don't worry about it. Because really, your first bra is probably not going to fit super great anyway. You're going to have to do little tweaks, and it's probably not going to be perfect. What you really want is it to be functional so that you can put it on and try it on and see what works for you. My bra looks kind of okay from the outside, the very first one. But in the inside, it's all messy. And that's okay because it doesn't fit me very well. I have some power net coming off there. I've got threads hanging through. But again, none of that affects the function of the bra. So when it's your first one, or if you've made a mistake and it looks kind of okay from the outside, forget about it and just keep going. It doesn't matter. Only things that affect the function are that important, especially on your first few bras. Fit over function, right? So then I've pulled out my most recent Black Beauty bra that I have made in her cool bee kit. This is made exactly to the pattern with the exception of the back band. I altered that. But I have a 2x2 hook and eye, as you can see. Hers are very narrow, so I actually have ripples in the fabric again because my thing was a little bit too small. But all the elastics are the right size. Now look, these are both Emerald Erin kits. My first bra, I was like, I want the bigger one. And I used that elastic instead of this one that the pattern is written for. That's a huge difference. I did that because on a 40 band, even if it's a small cup size, the larger elastics can help it to fit better on the top and the bottom because they're a little bit more stable. But I end up just getting both now as I see fit because I like how this looks. And it's a lot neater. You can see there aren't as many loose threads or anything throughout. The next helpful tip is, what do you do if you're sewing along on your bra and your machine keeps eating your fabric or you keep getting skipped stitches. And I'm going to show you what skipped stitches look like. In my very first bra, you can see right near the wire line, my zigzag suddenly becomes flat line. And it's because it was going through a thick section of the bra, and it happens quite a bit. I'm going to show you some examples of skipped stitches. This is a Berkeley bra by Orange Lingerie that I just made, and I used regular Gutermann all-purpose thread on this, and I had a miserable time with skip stitches when I was doing this, especially on the zigzags. Trying to find you a good example. Yeah, you can see right here. Look at all those flatline parts where the zigzag disappears. That happened to me constantly on this bra. Whereas my other ones that you saw in the video didn't have that problem. So why would that be? It can be your thread, it can be your needle, or it can be your materials. So my solution when everything comes out really well is Gutermann Mara 120 thread. This is something that Emerald Erin has actually talked about a lot, working really well, and she sells it in her shop, and some other people do too. I think Beware now has it. It is amazing. It works so well. It's a slightly finer polyester thread, but it's very strong, and it's really nice. It settles into the fabric beautifully, and when I sew with these two, I do not have skipped stitches at all. So I kind of want to get more colors to save that problem, because that teal thread I used for that other bra was a big problem. Also, it could be your needle. You might need a brand new needle. If you've been using your same needle for forever, it's probably time to throw it away. If you didn't even bother to try a different needle, it's probably that you can't use a universal. Depends on the machine. You have to know your machine the best. So I'm going to show you the ones that people commonly use. A stretch needle. Stretch needles work really well because of elastics. You're sewing a lot of elastics, but the regular cut pieces, maybe this won't work so well. I do not use stretch needles when I sew bras. The other two types are Microtex needles, as you can see here. They're for sewing finer materials and microfiber. And I have a size 70-10 here and an 80-12. And I like to use the 70-10s, and I have no problem sewing anything on any of my bras with these types of needles. Other machines and other people don't have the same success. So you'll find that there's a lot of different needle preferences, and you might need to look up what works for you and do some trial and error. But definitely try different needles. The last problem is, what do you do if the machine eats your fabric and sucks it right down into the feed dogs every time you do it? This can happen with delicate laces or very, very fine materials. There's a few solutions to this problem. For one, tissue paper. Most bra orders now that I've been getting because of eco-friendly packaging, they have tissue paper in it. This is actually one left over from Bra Builders, I think. And if you put this underneath the bra like such, when you go to sew it, you won't have any problems with the machine eating your fabric. And then when you're done sewing the seam, just rip the tissue paper right off. It's a great way to recycle, and it works really well. Another way is to start the seam not at the very, very edge of the fabric. So for instance, if you were sewing Power Net, don't put the needle down right here. Move it up a little bit so that it has somewhere to catch. And that can prevent the machine from eating your fabric as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope that this is very helpful to you if you're a new bra maker and you want to fix some of these problems that might happen to you. Totally doable, easy to fix, just keep going. And if you have any questions on anything I've explained, or if you want more detail, let me know. I'd be happy to help you and answer. If you like my videos, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell, and I will see you next time. Thank you.